circle of life. What is the loop of life? So we're on the website, 𝑩𝒆𝒊𝒏𝒈𝒻𝒓𝒖𝒆𝒄𝒐𝒎. And if you go to the tab that says perceptions and then religion and spiritual practices, age, astronomy, and 12 signs, then the circle of life. Okay? So let's go there. So the loop and the circle of life. Okay? So Earth has a rotation in the cosmos in the sky. All right? So it's like a wheel. All right? The location shifts roughly every 2,100 years. All right? The cycle of the age can be regarded as the circle of life or the loop of life, depending on how progressive or stagnated the beings evolve or progress beyond mimetic ways of civilization. So what am I talking about? You're like, what is she talking about? Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, let's go down to the loop of life. The opportunity or the loop of life. Okay, so with every coming age, there's an opportunity or the loop of life. So in helping you understand what we're talking about when we say the circle of life, so currently the way the world works is we have a monetary system, and in each monetary system we have a government that creates a system of tax paying and labor, which is always the hottest commodity of any system, is the labor, like the ability to get people to do things for many reasons, because one, nothing is created or destroyed. So where do we get the energy to create these systems? It has to constantly be energized, and that energy comes from labor, right? So in the loop of life, if you see in this picture, it's the snake eating its own tail. Okay? So if you imagine the snake, if it eats its tail, it's just going to still be going in the circle. So in the loop of life, the dragon or the serpent is id-induced, self-absorbed, haughty, regards the self as superior to other humans, supreme, better than, fearful of different cultures, afraid of alternate ideas, regards the self and cultural or racial origin as chosen, locked in the voids of greed, vanity, and self-preservation. The result, total consumption of oneself, both consciously and unconsciously. So we are in the loop of life. We are totally in consumption of oneself, both consciously and unconsciously. Okay? So how will we get out of this? We need to, if you picture a dragon, if you notice, like in the Chinese culture, they may not even realize why they have such an affinity for dragons, or maybe they do. But if you picture a dragon is what? It's a serpent that spits fire. So imagine if you're trying to consume yourself, like in this picture, the snake eating its own tail. Imagine if it spit fire. It wouldn't be able to eat its own tail, right? And that's kind of what the Chinese dragon represents. It represents a time of change. If you're spitting fire, you can't eat your own tail. You would dissolve. So we need to come out of this loop of self-consumption and evolve into a society that does things in a manner where there is no poverty, there is no deprivation, and deprivation meaning depravity. No one is deprived of the resources that the earth provides. And I know this seems like taboo, like that could never happen. How are you going to eliminate poverty? There's always, what I always hear people say, well, there's always going to be some people up there always going to be down. It just has to be that way. That may be true for a time. and for an age. But that's not the optimal human condition. That's not what we're meant here to do. We're not meant to be here going in cycle and cycle eating our own tail. That's not what it's meant to be. Let's take a look at the Chinese dragon. I'm sorry, that's not the story that I wanted to write, but that picture does remind me of that movie where the boy was on the dragon. But here's a parade that happens usually annually in San Francisco. It's the dragon parade. It's where the dragon is coming, right? So, sorry about that. It's where the dragon is coming. And what does that mean? When you see that, always think about the loop of life. It's telling you that there's an opportunity to change. Don't eat your own tail by doing the same thing and looping life over and over and over and over and over again, as we do every century, every decade, every age of time, whereby the loop of life differs from the circle of life in that the loop represents another cycle of human evolution through the ages that did not result in the proper distribution and usage of resources and energy. Okay, so when you see like the Chinese parade, let's take a look at it. So if you notice, they're running out. They run out and they run away, and first they're gonna make a circle. Because that's the loop of life, right? It's a circle. It's a eating of their own tail, just going around in circles, doing the same thing. Eat my tail, come back, eat my tail, come back, eat my tail, come back. But then something changes, right? And be mindful too, no one always knows what's going on here, right? If you ask anyone else, they're gonna say, "Oh my God, it's something, it's devil." But what is devil? It's devilish. It's unliving, right? What does devil spell backwards? Lived. Evil spelled backwards, live. So it's devilish to constantly be in a society where every decade, century after, we do the same thing. We have some people with resources, some people in poverty and deprivation, some people in resources, kids and children starving of hunger on one part of the world. It's just, we're doing the same thing. We're not creating a system that doesn't just simply eat its own tail again. It's the same folks going around in the circle. And so, yeah, that can be regarded as unliving. So when they come out, we saw them. They came, gathered out. They're running in the circle. And then there's a period of kind of like nothingness. There's a period, and there's just, look, they have like this red devilish face. Now, anybody watching this might be like, "Oh my God, yes, this is demonistic," or whatever. But what is it saying? It's saying that there's something evil about going in that circle. The dragon is coming, breaking the cycle, spitting fire. Let's speed it up a little bit. It's like And why does the dragon spitting fire kind of represents? Because what happens in a fire? When a fire happens, sometimes if you're a farmer, you know this, or if you've ever done in crops, sometimes the soil becomes barren, basically. You know, it's been turned over too many times and there's nothing much you can do with it. The only thing you can do is burn it down and let the soil start over. This burning creates something completely good in the soil. It's like tear it down and start anew. So this fire also represents that. It's like something is burning down. But why does it always have to come out of the dragon? No one ever thought of that. It's because it's the loop of life. It's the snake, the serpent, the dragon that's eating its own tail. So coming out of that is when you blow the fire. Burn it down, stop eating your own tail, and move forward to something better and anew. There was always, you see how there's a light inside the dragon. It's not going in a circle. It's zigzagging. It's going in the sign of like an infinity sign. Let's look up an infinity sign. Infinity symbol. Probably can't see that, but there we go. Infinity. Right? Not just eating the tail, but infinity is a distribution of energy. When you eat your own tail, you consume yourself. When you are in infinite, you live, right? So it's the light inside the dragon, spitting fire, coming out of the same thing. This is a ritual. And it's very telling. The dragon doesn't just go in a circle. It always zigzags. Everything that we do is purposeful. We may not know it yet, and then it makes sense, right? And it's a happy time. It's a happy time. The dragon looks happy, right? The dragon is happy. It's a happy time. It's all good, right? It's time for us as a society to come out of the loop of life. We're going to talk about that in the next review again of the film Future by Design. We got to have a good understanding of a different way to live. And we can't be afraid of it. We can't just dismiss it as something demonistic or something like that. That's not at all what this is about in any way at all. I know this image gives that vibe of like, oh my God, you know, that's not what it's about. And that's why, yeah, you should be disgusted by this image. It should give you a little chill because that's the way we've been living. We've been eating our own tail, consuming ourselves, meaning other humans, meaning allowing other humans to suffer. That's a form of self-consumption because we are one. We are the same species. We can't consume ourselves. We can't just allow part of the world to have mass murder. We can't just allow part of the world to be completely deprived of food, water. That time is a time of eating one's own tail, and it is time to do something different.